Hey, okay. All right, it's recording. Great. Well, welcome to our November Management 3.0 seminar, where we have intimate discussions with people doing super cool things, who want to share their knowledge, who just have a lot of things to say. And so if you're tuning in, that means you weren't on the video, but we have this every month and we always post the videos, so you'll never miss out. Today we have members of our Happy Melly community in Slack, Joan and Nicoletta, and we are going to be talking about mentorship, which is super cool. And yeah, we love this topic. So I'm not going to talk. I'm going to let you guys take it away, and yeah, go for it. And everyone on the call, they said that if you want to ask questions, you don't have to wait till they're finished. So just let's make this a super interactive discussion. Okay. Maybe just, I don't know, raise your hand or just talk. I feel like it won't get that crazy. Okay, go for it, guys.
So, hi, and thank you for joining. Wow. Because really we planned that it's going to be just the four of us, so we can have like an intimate chat, but it's so much more exciting that you guys are here. So thank you very much. I would like to introduce myself. So my name is Nicoletta Tatar. I'm a Happy Melly member since 2015, I think. It's been a long time, so I don't really remember the exact time. I'm an agile coach, and I work for an American-Hungarian company now.
That's it, Nikki?
That's okay.
I was expecting more things, and I'm just kidding. No, okay, I think then it's my turn. I'm Joan. I'm from Barcelona. I think a Happy Melly member. To be honest, I don't remember at all. I think it was in 2017 or 2016. I'm not pretty sure about it. I think that 2017. I'm also an agile coach. I'm working for a German company here, based also here in Barcelona. And well, yeah, involved in all these kind of agile and lean things and management 3.0, I think that more or less with agile and all this stuff about 5 years or something like that. So yeah, this is more or less my introduction.
So excellent. So who's going to kick off what we're talking about today?
Yeah, I think that maybe, yeah, maybe you can start as the very beginning, right, Nikki? How we start doing all this stuff, doing all this kind of mentorship. I don't know if you remember more or less how it works.
Well, let's start with the beginning. So I remember it was about like 1.5 years ago. Sam announced through Happy Melly channels that there's going to be a mentoring program through Happy Melly. And well, I immediately thought that, wow, such a nice thing to do. And I volunteered to be a mentor. I didn't really thought a lot about it. I just thought that it's a good idea, and I wanted to try if a mentoring relationship could work like in a virtual setting, because it was obvious that that most likely it would be someone from a different country or continent. Or yes, so I had some experience in mentoring through my work, but I wouldn't feel at that time like an expert mentor. I just felt that there are a few topics which I can help out someone, so I just put my name in a spreadsheet and listed a few topics which I thought that I have some, like, not even expert knowledge, but let's just say that some knowledge.
A lot of knowledge for sure, Nikki. I think that more or less, I was also trying to prove, well, trying to take advantage of this community also. I see all these mentorship programs. I said that again, it could be, we have this community. I think it could be a good thing to test, to see to talk, to know a lot of people that here in this community. So yeah, I did more or less the same that you, Nikki, but in another way. I download this spreadsheet and then I look for for people to get mentored. Actually, it was my first experience with mentoring, because I've never received this kind of mentoring. I'm usually a self-taught, but I thought it was a good could be a good experience. So my way, first of all, I choose two of the people that were there in the spreadsheet. And I think we were talking about that, Nikki, at the very beginning, but I think one of them was another one from Australia, and I thought that maybe from the time it's something like that, it could be a big weird to talk with a person that it's not in the same timeline that you, so time zone than you. So yeah, I think that we started this way. And one of the things that I remember is that we started with a really transparent way. I think that we share the same mindset in a lot of things. I think one of the keys of the very beginning is that we were really transparent about that. And I think it's also one of the key success of this mentorship relationship also, because we were talking about to be very transparent and ask all the things that we think or whatever, and to be really honest if in one point we believe that this relationship is not going to, we are not taking advantage, or we think that it's not valuable or whatever, just raise our hands and came up with all this stuff, right?
Yeah, so I remember that, yeah, after like a first contact, we talked about like basic topics and what I can offer and what you were looking for. So it was like establishing like trust and common things between us. And I remember that there was a point where we like officially agreed to do this, and we put our names in another tab in the spreadsheet. So that was the like official agreement that okay, we are going to do this. And for the first few occasions, I remember we set like a cadence of that. Okay, we are going to talk on a regular basis. It was almost a year ago, or more than a year ago now. So I don't remember like what specifics we had, but I remember that we agreed to talk regularly. And one thing could be interesting to the others, that for a very, very long time, we didn't even like talk. We only like chatted. So we didn't, it was like a conversation just in writing. And
actually, I think that we decided to do it the way that we feel more comfortable in this way. So if we want to talk, if you want to call, if you want to chat. So I don't know why we keep that doing this way.
Yeah, I think it was like an open-ended thing. So we agreed that okay, if some topics require us to like have a meeting, like a regular meeting with the camera and talk through things, then we would do that. But for the whole thing, it never really happened. So I think like powering through this sort of like relationship is like it was amazing.
So can I ask what like, it seems like you guys had a successful mentorship relationship, which is amazing. I totally forgot that that's how you met, from that initiative we started, which died, but it's good that this came out of it. What was the key to the success? I mean, you mentioned transparency, but I guess if you were giving advice to people on how to have a successful mentorship mentee relationship, what would that be?
Yeah, actually, I think that, well, as you said, and as we said also, I think that the transparency was one of the more important points. I think that the other thing is that Yeah, I don't remember this cadence of the meetings that we did at the beginning, but I think that also was important that I think it was a two-direction relationship because I was asking questions about things or just different points of views. At the same time, Nikki was also think about me or just only send me any message or whatever after a while in order to check if all things are okay, or also to share another things. I think that this also it's important in this kind of relationship of this mentorship. It's not that one of the sides push. I think it's both sides that have to be or have to feel comfortable, and they have to keep this relationship to keep going on.
Yeah, I agree totally. So I think like trust was like a basic thing. Also accountability. So I don't think that I ever, if I got a message from you, I answered you like within a day, but better yet sooner. Um, so I try to be very like responsive, and so it wouldn't work if your mentee is asking something and you just like don't pay attention or just forget about it, then obviously it wouldn't work. So also the two-ended way, I think early on it was, so both of us was offering like advice to each other. So yeah, it was not like I was just the mentor. I also got so many ideas by the conversations and the problems we talked about. So and yeah, so I think those things.
I think that also the mindset helps again, because if you are talking with mentoring with a one topic, but both sides really think differently, I think it's quite hard also to keep. I think it's a point of view. I think in this case, I think we share a lot of things. We have different point of views, obviously, but I think like we share a lot of mindset or mindset. I think it's more or less the same. So I think these things, it's also like a trigger in order to keep talking with the other one and even asking for advice or whatever.
You know, I don't know if Sheryl Sandberg of Facebook, she wrote a book, and in the book she has a whole chapter about mentors and mentees and finding one. And she specifically says, don't look for a mentor. She's like, you can't go up to someone and be like, will you be my mentor? She said it has to happen naturally. You just have to kind of develop a relationship with that person, and then it just sort of organically evolves. I mean, that's completely the opposite of what you guys did. I guess I'm just wondering, yeah, I don't know, because I've thought about that a lot, where I'm sometimes like, damn, I want a mentor on this topic, but then I think back to her book and I'm thinking, oh, can I just reach out and be like, hey, be my mentor? Or do you need to go through those steps to develop that relationship first and build trust, like you guys are saying is so important?
Well, hopefully it could work like either way. I remember we had at one company we had an organized like mentoring program where everyone from the company had to have a mentor, and also they had to have a mentee too, regardless of any level. So even a junior had to have someone whom he was mentoring, and even the CEO had to get a mentor, and he had to like I'm like confusing myself, but you guys get the point. So everyone in that company had to be a mentee and a mentor, obviously not to the same person, but to different people, because even size and experience and stories to another person. So I've seen it working like this top-down nature, and okay, you just find someone who is willing to be your mentor or mentee. But like if it develops organically, that could be also great.
Yeah, but I also see the point of Sam, because I think that again, I've been involved in other mentoring, mentee experience after that, and I have this feeling that yeah, sometimes it's quite tricky. Is what I was saying, that it's not like came up like, okay, you are going to be my mentor and that's it. Yeah, I think that there's this kind of, it's more let's say that it's more an art than a science. Because there's this kind of trust, this kind of also feeling comfortable to ask whatever do you want to ask to the other people about this topic. So I think that again, I think the transparency and trust is again what really works, because I try to be really transparent in all this stuff. I think that also helps, and Nikki also. So think that, in my opinion, these are the two things that can happen. I see, yeah, it could be if you try to force a mentor-mentee relationship, could be strange. And so I think you have to take into account all these topics for sure.
Is any other? I have like so many questions, but do other you guys have questions? I mean, it's open forum.
Yes, I have one. You said that you talked to each other, you chatted with each other. I know that in coaching there are a set of methods you use if you coach a coachee. Did you use some special methods, or maybe can you give a concrete example what you did?
Well, if I think back to the very beginning, I think Joanne, you had like a concrete problem, but please share the story. But if I remember correctly, he had like a concrete problem, which I tried to offer my experience and advice, but it was not something like, well, you should do this. So I tried to offer like directions on how to solve it. So I think like mentoring and coaching is like fundamentally different, but like even when you're mentoring someone, there's a point when you have to like coach in a way that, okay, so these are the tools you can use, but then you must solve it. So I'm not with you. You need to apply this whole thing into your concrete situation, because obviously I wouldn't be able to like solve it for you.
Yeah, actually, I was not looking for the answer of the question. It was like, yeah, I think it was related with metrics, because yeah, I know I work with Agile and all this stuff, but I'm a nerd of metrics. And I think I was trying to approach, I don't remember, I think it was a thing with predictions and Kanban and all this stuff.
Yeah, forecasting in Kanban. Yeah, I think it was the specifics.
Yeah, so I think we started with that. So we focus on these metrics, and he shared me all this experience and helped me to how to approach all these first problems. I think that then later on we shift to another topic, but this was the beginning. So yeah, it was more like a mentorship and a coaching maybe at the beginning, because it was just or more or less like coaching, because it's like, this is the problem, this is the solution that I see, this could be a good approach, but let's see for another things. Yeah, we started like that, and now I'm using Monte Carlo simulation and things like that. So
yeah, so that was I remember that at first I offered like a few pointers, and I told you like one experience how I solved this problem at one project. But then like the next time we talked, this guy, he was like read all the literature. He came back with like, well, have you heard about Monte Carlo simulation? Because I did this and I plan to do this and that. And I was like, wow, okay. You're cool, man. Yeah, so in a way I just like pointed at like a door or a window, and he just went through the whole universe. So that was a great example, like or a great experience for me, that okay, like I have so much to learn on these topics, and who am I to offer advice? I'm just like,
Yeah, but I think this was one of the points to steer the person to the way, right? It's like, okay. But yeah, as the question was, we started with, I think that was not a concrete coaching method or whatever. It was like trying to approach one of the one of the points, and let's see where we can arrive, right? Yeah, I don't know if you have any more question.
Anyone have a question they want to ask? Comment? I want to know if there's anything you would say do not do. Like, is there anything that Ricardo, I think your background, yeah, thanks. Welcome. Hi. Yeah, anything that is just do not do these things that would make for a bad mentor-mentee relationship.
Yeah, good question. Well, I think that we didn't define the things to avoid. First of all, I think, yeah. Well, as a beginning, we said that this kind of transparency to say that, yeah, please, if you feel that this is not going to work because you think that it's not valuable or whatever, say it. I think this is one of the most important things. But things to take into account or keep in mind in order to avoid for the other persons. Yeah, I will say that keep in touch. I think it's the important thing. Don't forget about that, because then could be strange. I think it's nice to keep also being in contact with all these things, all these things that you want to share. Yeah, let's do it. Don't keep for you. I mean, I think it could be a two-sided relationship.
How often do you guys speak? Oh, sorry.
okay.
No,
Sorry, I just wanted to say that the same. So I even remember like announcing like holidays and etc. to each other that okay, I'm going for a 2-week like vacation. So if I'm not replying on the spot, and like I really try to. So it was like the be there part. I think that's the most important. So if you disappear, then obviously that's a big no in any relationship, I think, but in mentoring too.
Yeah, I think the communication piece is super important. That's a good point. How often do you speak? Is this, you guys talk every day, like once a week? What does that look like?
Well, if I remember correctly, it was like about once a week, but there was some like breaks, like only like in 2 weeks. But like these days, it's like on demand, and it's not even I wouldn't say it's still the mentoring like relationship we had. So after like half a year, it was more like a friendship. So so it's like the cadence is like how you talk with a friend who lives in a different country. So I think we talk like pretty regularly.
Yeah, I think that we can keep talking, but yeah, I always bomb Nikki with questions. It's my fault. I'm sorry. Because each time that I have a doubt that I can't believe it, this is not going to happen. Well, first of all, let me check with Nikki, because I think that these people it's saying things that I disagree completely. So please, can anybody help me? I'm still using this stuff. But yeah, I think that nowadays we are talking, I don't know, maybe it depends on the season, maybe weekly, sometimes monthly. It depends something on the things that happen in the work, or things that we have on mind, or out of the work sometimes, things or offers, whatever. Yeah, but I think that what I was thinking now, that I think that the beginning it's nice to have this kind of more weekly at least, because this is going to help you in order to, I don't know how to say it. It's going to help you to be more in contact and keep this relationship alive. I think it's not, could be a bit weird that monthly what's happening, it's like more a report than a mentorship maybe.
Anyone else have questions or last like 10 minutes that you want to know? Does anyone else have a mentor relationship on this chat who, I don't know, anything that they're saying you can relate to or not relate to? Or a mentor relationship that went really bad? No. What about the virtual aspect of this? Because it's not the you have some Joao. Do you want to talk about it? Or you can't talk right now? You want to?
There we go.
Oh,
no, I can.
Okay.
I'm. Good evening, everyone. I'm listening very carefully because I'm very suspicious on this talk because I spend 99% of my day mentoring. So it's really interesting to hear what you're saying, and very healthy perspective.
Are we any good?
I think that's the good thing about mentoring. You know, if it works, it's good. I don't think no one has the right to even make a judgment on that. If it works, it is good, because if it doesn't, probably then you need to think about it. So congratulations to both of you. I think it's really beautiful what you share with us, what you experienced, first of all. I actually do believe that mentoring, it's probably just in its very early days. So hopefully it's something that we're going to see more and more being taken seriously by individuals, companies, organizations, in many different aspects. I usually like to describe it a little bit like picture a triangle, you know, and if in one vertex probably you can place psychology, in another one coaching, and in another one friendship, and actually right in the middle you can put mentoring. And it's really interesting because a coach will ask you hopefully the right questions, the psychologist will hear you deeply, and the friend will care for you. And actually a mentor will be someone that will give you advices which a coach and the psychologist will never do, because they are not supposed to. But it can make you some questions and listen in the way that sometimes friends don't do as well, because of the relation. So I don't know, it's just a simple way to explain it and to live it daily. So it's really great. Thank you guys for sharing.
Yeah, actually, Joao, I think that you described it really, really well, how I felt during this mentoring relationship. I think this triangle it fit really well. I think that also is one of the things that I think more or less we try to or at least I try to explain during this chat, because yeah, that's true. I think that there's a point of coaching that it helps you to maybe to steer, open these doors, that maybe, or doing these right questions. The other part is psychology, that you can ask whatever to this person, and the other one with this and the other one this friendship, right? Yeah, also because you have to have this kind of transparency, this kind of trust with the other person, or to ask this question that maybe it's a silly question or maybe it's too complicated, I don't know, but you have to do it freely and with confidence, right?
It's so good to hear, because yeah, so how you describe this triangle, this is what really organically happened. And I think this is the first time when we, for me, so I thought I mentored people before, but we never like become friends, and with João we become friends, I think so. And it was such a plus to this whole thing. And because I'm also like familiar with coaching and how you should coach, and when you're a coach, you shouldn't be friends with your client. And mentoring gives me so much more, because, well, there's no rules that we shouldn't be friends. So it's like it's a more personal, and it's a two-way thing. I know that coaching is also can be like, obviously it's two-way, but mentoring is a bit more like selfless. So we are doing this whole thing because this is our choice. So it's yeah.
Joao, do you have a mentor?
You said Joan?
No, Joao.
Oh, Joao.
Joan, I know you have a mentor.
So you meant João. Okay. Me. All right. Well, I was fortunate enough to have throughout my life really caring mentors in very specific situations. Two of them were teachers, Portuguese teachers actually, and they were really hard, because sometimes you want to think about them as someone that really takes you by the hand, but it's always extremely pleasant and empathic. And actually these two teachers that I remember in the beginning, I don't think they were that empathic with me, because I think they understood how lazy I was, so they needed to be really hard with me. But fortunately they catch me in a very important moment in life between 10 and 14, and until 7 months ago actually I kept contact with the oldest one. Just passed away last December, but it was my teacher, and every time we happened to be on the same city, we always had breakfast together for more than 25 years. So I guess it explains how the relations can really progress into time and beyond, because look, he's not physically here, but I still can hear his advices pretty much all the time. I mean, it's incredible how people continue through, living through others. It's the impact, I think it's gigantic. At the moment, unfortunately, I say unfortunately because I think I spent so much time mentoring that I have a hard time to say that I do have one. But to be very honest, if you mentor someone from the heart, you always end up receiving so much that even without calling such thing, like you are my mentor, you always end up being mentored by someone, because just by talking, just by communicating, you are already doing the process inside your own brain. And this is actually one of the most important things in mentoring, because by the time you are putting things in words, even if it's chatting like Joanne and Nicoletta, you are actually already committing and making a statement. So actually you are clarifying already your questions. So just by listening and answering, this is a bi-directional process. But yeah, I mean, that's just my perspective.
No, thank you for sharing. Yeah, it must have been like an amazing opportunity to have a mentor for like how many years? 25 years. Amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. That's pretty cool. And I like what you just said about it's true, to look at it like everyone is a mentor in some way. If you're getting, I don't know, insight from someone or talking to someone, doesn't have to be formalized necessarily. All right, in our last 5 minutes, anyone else want to say anything? Last thoughts, questions, burning things you've been wanting to say? Jorge, I feel like you want to say something. Or you're just staring. Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, one question for the mentors and mentees there. So, what will impede you guys to continue the mentoring process? In the past, what will have impeded that? You had a good connection, right? So, what will have impeded that connection?
I'm not sure I understand. Sorry. So what was the thing why we continued? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what would have impeded the continuation of your mentoring process? What would have stopped that? Maybe.
Well, we didn't stop officially, I think. So this relationship is still like going, but it's a lot more like informal now. So we don't have like an agreed like time and date to talk, but we do regularly. And I think this can go on until we can offer each other like help and advice and stuff like this. So for me, I really think of this as like a friendship now. So until both of us can invest in and obviously like have some like gain, and I mean it in a very positive way, then this will go on. But if any of us will get tired or I don't know, then it can stop. And even if it stops, I would always think of this whole period as like a very beneficial, like good experience. But I hope we will like we will be talking for like another like many years.
I imagine in the consulting business, when a mentor is assigned to somebody else and maybe they don't like each other, I don't know. It will be interesting to build that trust.
Yeah, I see your point. I think that then in the consultancy, and taking also the words that Joao said, this kind of friendship could be sometimes tough. I think it's not easy. I don't know how. Yeah, I think that these soft skills for the consultants in order to do a good mentor relationship could be tough. I think in some points. I think the coaching relationship, maybe you don't need this kind of friendship relationship, just somebody to advise you or help to do these correct questions. But yeah, I think that the mentorship, you need this part. I think it's quite important because it's what we are talking about, that you have to feel also that this person it's working with you, like something like that.
Also, just to like, because you said, what if you need to mentor someone you don't like, or like, even if it's consultation, I wouldn't do it. So I think this is well, obviously this could be a job, but I wouldn't offer my time, my love, and my experience to someone whom I doesn't think it's worth. So I think this is like this should be something special. So if I don't like someone, then I wouldn't be mentoring. Yeah. So I think you can always say no to it, even if it's a professional like setup in consultation, because I don't think you could be like a good mentor of someone you like despise or doesn't have the same value set, or yeah.
Thank you.
No, it's a good questions. Okay, we got Joao. Did you want to pipe in and ask your last one? You can.
It's very simple. I was just listening carefully, and thank you, Georgia, for making that comment. I just want to, I mean, maybe it's a provoking thought, but we often see the mentoring relations as kind of a leadership circle. So actually people understand that it's, especially in corporations. And probably the challenge that we all have ahead of us is to change a little word on the first word, which is, instead of leadership circle, to make it a leadership circle. Actually, if you type it on Word, it's going to give you an error, a typo, because even the systems don't admit this different approach. But if you think as a leadership circle, where actually everyone involved is using himself for the other to climb up. And actually, if everybody does that, most likely, these situations of trust, caring, and actually feeling that you are moving forward and upwards, they will happen. I think it doesn't happen when you feel the obligation to take something. But actually, if you feel just the obligation of giving something, kind of works. And there is hope in companies, let me tell you, in 30 seconds. When I start my service, which is called Walking Mentorship, 4 years ago, I understood it was really hard to work with corporations because, being there for more than 20 years, I know exactly what doesn't work and how broken the system is. And actually, just by taking you out of your environment can actually help you a lot. That's why I take small groups of people, 6, 8, 10 people out into the mountains for 7, 8, 9 days. And believe me, when you level up the field, with a backpack and walking, whatever you are, CEO, manager, trainee, everybody feels the same because everybody has the same pain on their legs. They all carry the same weight. And when you look at each other and maybe sometimes feeling miserable, you just reconnect with your human dimension, which is a pretty good starting point to build up a relation. Despite being CEO or something else, I don't know. It's just maybe something you want to try one day. Get your team, go for a couple of days, and you will see how probably it's easier to start a relation like that. But 5 cents.
Great. Now I can put a face to the emails because I'm actually subscribed to your. Yeah.
Okay, that's the face.
Yeah, and Joao, we have to talk too because I think it would be great to have you do a seminar about these walking, being in nature. Send me a note after. Let's get you in for 1 month. Okay, well, guys, this has been really great. This is, and I honestly, I totally forgot that this was from that initiative, and it's really nice to see. It's great. You guys should do some blogs about this, and it's a nice sort of tag team. Yeah, it's just been a really great conversation. So thank you for joining. It's also a wonderful turnout. Really happy to have everyone here. People watching, every month we do it. The next one is on December 10th, before the holidays. A really interesting one, which you're just going to have to, I'll post a link to it because I can't describe it right now. But yeah, every month we do them and they're great. And so go to Management 3.0 and this will be posted in Slack and on our website. All right. Thank you for joining.